Hello and welcome to the SBR Megane Trophy Series, brought to you in association with PJ Parcels. We thank you for your sponsorship. Let's take a look at the first race grid for round 2 here at the Red Bull Ring. We've got Ollie from Jordan, from Russell, from James, Nick, then Dylan, Phil, then Jamie, Luke, Ryan, Brian, and then Mark and Andy at the back there. We go to the grid, the lights are already on, and we wait. That's a small jump start there from Phil by the looks of it. He's going to take a penalty there and has caused a bit of mayhem there at the rear. We'll have to go back and have a look at that in a second as the group and the field go down into turn 1. Dylan taking a very brave first move down the inside of turn 1, causing a bit of havoc there for both James and Russell, I think it was. As we have a look at what happened at the start, obviously Phil getting a slight jump start, slow away after that. Luke's nowhere to go, seeing it late, and a half spin there. It looked like Brian, who we're on board with now, just corrected him and unfortunately spun massively himself. That's going to cost him a huge amount of time. We go back to the live action and we've got Jordan now up the inside of Ollie into the hairpin here at the Red Bull Ring Grand Prix circuit, the one the Formula 1 guys seem to use as well. Dylan holding his second place there from James, and Jamie with a fantastic start there, up into 5th place already, as you've got Ryan and Russell fighting behind, sorry, not Russell, Declan. I can say Russell because his surname is Russell, but it is Declan. That's Ryan just that little bit wide as he comes back on a slight slide there and into the side of Deck. That's going to leave these two side by side into the midfield, where Mark is now catching him. We've lost, obviously we lost Luke. It seems like Nick's disappeared somewhere as well. Don't know where Nick's gone. Maybe some issue up at the hairpin as well for him. As we see the recovering Luke spinning massively and out of contention, unfortunately. Back to the final corner and up the pit straight, and Jordan was having a go there at Ollie's. Back in the slipstream. Is he going to have a go into turn 1? We climb back up the hill into the braking zone, allowing these Meganes just to brake that little bit later than you normally would if it was flat. Jordan deciding against taking that move and going to sit in the slipstream all the way up the hill, continuing to climb further and further and further up the hill towards the braking zone of turn 2 and the hairpin, the notorious hairpin at Red Bull here in Austria. And as he eases off, it almost opens the door slightly there for Dylan, who tries his luck. Jordan a little bit loose off the curb coming out the hairpin, and that's allowed both Dylan and James now to catch Jordan, giving Ollie a bit of breathing space in the lead. James going to try round the outside here at Dylan as Dylan goes in very, very tight, trying to have a look up the inside of Jordan. And doesn't get anything from it, unfortunately, other than a tap up the rear there from James by the looks of it. The two cars here, both Dylan and James, almost as one as we come down to turn 4 of Red Bull. James almost stalking and hunting his prey almost, as he looks to try and take advantage of any slight mistake of Dylan. There was a slight one there as he ran wide. He's covering the inside nice and early as Dylan, but James has got by far the better momentum as he comes down the outside and takes the lead on the penultimate corner from takes 3rd place away from Dylan on the penultimate corner there. We flick back and we see Declan and Ryan having a battle, both catching Jamie by the looks of it here as they come up into the braking zone of turn 1. Ryan having a look. Deck's a little bit wide. That's allowed Ryan to pull up alongside. It's going to be a drag race up to the hairpin now, but Ryan's already in front of Deck. Deck deciding to just drop back into the slipstream. Can he do anything about it into the braking zone of the hairpin here at turn 2? Spending a little bit of a penalty, as you would expect at this circuit. It's a bit of a pain in the backside with penalty spending into that corner. As we go back to the leaders and we see Ollie has now been caught by Jordan yet again. Jordan not wasting any time to get back onto the rear bumper of Ollie. James and Dylan still not giving up their fight for 3rd place, and dare I say it's slightly closer to the lead 2 drivers. But James certainly in front of Dylan this time round, nice and smooth, actually pulling away that little bit now from Dylan. We go back to Jordan, who's putting more and more pressure on Ollie round the final corner. And another lap in the books. He's a little bit wide coming out the corner, but he keeps the momentum going. Ollie pulls to the inside. He knows he was slower out the corner. Has certainly given Jordan a nice run up the outside of turn 1. My apologies, but Ollie has certainly kept the position coming out of turn 1, but Jordan a much better run down the back straight towards the hairpin. They're side by side. If anything, Jordan's slightly in front, but Ollie's got the inside line for the hairpin. He pulls back in front, forces Jordan that little bit wide, but Jordan's going to have the better exit. Out down the back straight, back down the hill slightly now, and Jordan has got in front. He has got the lead, but James has really caught these guys up and is now smelling the exhaust fumes of Ollie in second place, and Ollie's back up the inside of Jordan, swapping places rather than working together. And like I say, all that is doing is playing into James's hands, and he's caught right back up with these two. And it's going to be a three-way battle very, very soon for the lead, I believe, as Jordan is almost pushing Ollie round the infield section of the Red Bull ring. And it's, like I say, James is fast catching, almost got a reel on the rear bumper of these two, and is back in contention massively for the lead and for the victory of this race. He's dropped Dylan massively over the last lap. We come down to the final corner and get another lap in the books. Jordan that little bit wider again from Ollie, but carrying more momentum down the start-finish straight. Ollie deciding to go a bit defensive again. That's going to hamper his exit onto the straight up towards turn 2. He's a little bit loose again, trying to get the power down as early as he can. And like I say, it's affected him because Jordan's back up alongside, in front even now of Ollie. Ollie needs to try and keep that inside line if he can, because James is now in the slipstream of Jordan as well. Ollie getting the inside line and taking first place back from Jordan. That slight push out onto the sausage curve there doesn't seem to have affected Jordan too much, as he's side by side now with Ollie as they go down towards turn number 3, back down the hill. James deciding to go with Ollie for the slipstream and the inside line. Is that going to give him the place ahead of Jordan? Slight contact, and it does just about, I believe, give him the place, although they're still side by side. Jordan not giving this one up. He's got the inside line for the next corner, and he will take second place back from James. This is just giving Ollie that little bit of breathing space. In front, Jordan 2 wheels onto the gravel. That's going to slow his momentum down. James is going to go back up the inside and take second place. And his eyes and sight fully set now on to Ollie. As we go backwards that little bit, and we see Deck has now got himself ahead of Jamie. And it looks like Ryan's there trying to find a way past as well, I believe. They're side by side onto the pit straight as Jamie spends a penalty, as he should, across the start-finish line. Fantastic from Jamie. Unfortunately not able to get off the racing line, but he did have Ryan on the outside. That's also allowed Phil a chance to challenge Declan, and Ryan is giving him a position, certainly, as Ryan now looks towards the outside of Declan, trying to force Deck as tight as he can into the braking zone of turn 3. It hasn't worked out for him though. As we go back a little bit further, and we see Dylan, who seems to be forgotten slightly there, in 4th place, although it's now 3rd, as we see Jordan spending a penalty in the wrong position. The stewards will have something to say about that, unfortunately, and that'll be a 5-second penalty quite easily for Jordan, not spending his penalty in the right position. You're meant to spend them across the start-finish line just like that, just in that position there. That's where you're meant to be holding your penalty line. It's cost him dearly, because that's allowed Dylan in front of him, and now both Deck and Ryan in front, and he's now got to get 5 seconds ahead of these guys as Declan runs that a little bit wide, but it gives him an extra run ahead of Ryan, who's lost his position to Jordan already. Jordan's not wasting any time at all and getting back onto this. He knows he's made a mistake. He knows he needs to catch this lead pack as quickly as he can. A lock up there from Declan coming into turn 3, a little bit loose on it and on exit. That's going to allow Jordan a nice run down the inside line as they go down the hill towards turn number 3. He's up alongside Declan, pushing him tighter and tighter to the inside as much as he can. But Jordan's stuck it there. He's got the inside line. Ryan goes, anything Jordan can do, I can do it better. And he tries to go down the inside. A slight touch. He's not quite got the momentum out the corner. And now Declan's going to have the inside line. Ryan trying to brave it round the outside, but unfortunately just losing out in the end as the corner just loses out for Ryan. It just forces him back into the slipstream. These two have not been separated hardly at all race. And yet again, Ryan going towards the inside, Declan covering over. So Ryan goes, okay, I'll take the outside line. Still not enough there for him, unfortunately. As we see Ollie now under threat from James in front. And Dylan running that little bit wide, unfortunately, coming out the final corner. As we pick Dylan up a little bit further around the lap, down in towards the penultimate corner here in 3rd place. We're just seeing here what happened to Dylan. He just seemed to get his braking zone wrong into the final corner there. Just running that little bit wide, obviously picking up a penalty and deciding to take it straight away. And that's allowed Jordan, Declan and Russell all to catch him up a little bit. Jordan getting that leap ahead of Dylan. And Dylan falling back into 4th place there, just ahead of Declan. But Declan's going to have the better run. And he's got the inside line as well, going up to turn number 3. And Ryan's there again in the slipstream. Going 3 wide, actually. He decides, can I make it even closer to the inside line? He decides against it, goes to the better racing line. Declan and Dylan sideways by Declan there. A little bit of touching and rubbing from Dylan. That's allowed Ryan the chance to get up into P4. Both Dylan and Deck side by side with Phil looking on, wondering if he can take any advantage at all. Dylan just about in front of Deck, now goes up the inside of Ryan as well, gets a nudge up the rear from Declan, sends him sideways a little bit, gives Ryan the run up into 4th. Dylan now in 5th, Declan in 6th, and Phil looking and trying his hardest to get 6th place away, sitting there in 7th at the moment. 3 cars almost as one round the infield section yet again of the Red Bull Ring, and Declan wondering what he's got to do to get past Dylan and get back on that rear bumper of Ryan. He doesn't want Ryan to get too far ahead, but he's feeling the pressure now from Phil up towards the penultimate corner. As we go back to the leaders, up into turn 1, we've got Ollie now under real pressure from James. Coming out of turn 1, up towards the main hairpin and the main overtaking spot. As Ollie's defending hard, he knows James is quicker. He can see that James has caught them massively over the last few laps. James towards the inside, he's going to brake as late as he can. And he does grab the position off of Ollie into the lead. Ollie trying the switchback move, but James wise to it, trying to block him off nice and early, but Ollie is up the inside slightly. The nose is just in front. He's going to kink slightly to James's favour, but Ollie's up the inside. He's right alongside. He's in front of James. James now trying the switchback, but again it's going to go into Ollie's favour if he can hold on round the outside. But James has just about got the run, swipes across the front of Ollie's front bumper. No, you're not having that inside line. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the lead. Thank you very much. Good night. Goodbye. I wouldn't say so much goodbye actually from him, but certainly he's trying his hardest. As we go back to the 2 unlucky guys off the grid. The 2 guys that got caught up with the accident with Phil at the very, very beginning. And you see Brian there going up the inside, is he, of Luke. Luke's very, very wide coming out the hairpin. And that's certainly going to give Brian a chance of a run down towards turn number 3. Luke's got the outside line, Brian's got the inside. Can he keep the inside line? Who knows? We go back up to Phil, who's now ahead of Dylan by the looks of it. Yes, just about round the outside, but Dylan says, I've got the inside line, I'll get the power down. Takes the position back from Phil slightly. They're still side by side. This isn't going to work into turn number 4. Phil's got the inside line, Dylan's on the marbles, and he's spun round and into the gravel trap. Spinning and spinning and spinning, trying to work out which way's the correct way round. And unfortunately out of a decent points paying position there for him. We go back to the leaders and we see that Ollie has not given up the chase at all from James. I said it would be bye-bye and thank you earlier on from James, but it's not at all. Ollie's still hounding and harassing him massively. He's down the outside. Can he get a slightly later break and a better exit out of the turn number 2 and the hairpin at the top of the hill? The answer there quite clearly is no, because James has opened up the gap yet again. Huge traction out of that final corner, out that corner. And we see in the background that Jordan has made his way back up to third. We'll have to see how much that 5-second penalty will affect him later on. Will it drop him down the grid, or will he get a big enough gap to the guys behind? We jump back and we jump on board with Jamie, who's now fighting with Nick, who we've not really seen a huge amount of this race. Just seems to be plodding along, but now in front of Jamie. Jamie's got a huge run coming through turn number 1. That claret and blue Megane getting bigger and bigger in the windscreen and the eyesight of Jamie as he tries his luck going up into turn number 2, into the braking zone. Jamie very late on the brakes, a slight nudge up the backside there of Nick, pushes him wide but does the right thing and holds himself back. Doesn't take the position, doesn't snatch it away. Fantastic sportsmanship from Jamie there, lovely to see. These two always seem to be close together on track. They were last time out, they were most of last season as well. Great to see these two still battling away together as Jamie decides his next plan of attack on Nick and how he's going to have that position away. He's fallen back that little bit and he's going to try and reel Nick back in round turn number 4. We jump a little bit later into the track, or around the lap, sorry, and Nick's a little bit wide there. Some issue there for Nick, and he's out wide. That's certainly allowed Jamie a nice little run towards Nick. I think we will jump on board now with Nick as we see Jamie getting closer and closer and closer and closer down the start-finish straight. He's in the slipstream, up the hill, into the braking zone of turn number 1, round the corner. Nick missing the apex yet again, and that's allowed Jamie a huge run coming out the second corner. Coming out the first corner, up towards the second corner. Jamie right in the slipstream now of Nick. Which way is he going to go? He's going to go inside. Is he going to go outside? Nick forcing him into a tighter line. And Jamie is going to try the inside line just about. Nick's left him just enough room. And he gets a better drive off of the corner. Just opens that gap up a little bit. He'll be kicking himself for missing that apex at turn number 1. It's certainly put pressure on him. Going down now into turn number 3. Jamie having fallen back that little bit, just that slower exit out of turn number 2. So Jamie takes the normal line, sees if he can get a run on Nick coming round the infield section. As we jump on board now with Ollie into turn number 4, who's still fighting hard with James. See if he can get any luck with getting that victory back. James pulls away that little bit into turn number 5. Ollie a slightly better run out of turn number 6. He pulls to the outside of Jamie, who's almost alongside him. We jump back out of the cars, and Ollie certainly has a run on James coming round the penultimate corner. He's a little bit wide. He decides against it, falls back in line, sideways out the final corner, but unfortunately it's not enough. James is going to take victory number 1 in race 1 from Ollie, and Jordan there in 3rd place. Obviously that penalty having an effect on Jordan, as we see James from Ollie, from Ryan, and then Jordan, then Declan and Luke recovering into 6th place. 7th was Phil, then Jamie, Nick, Brian, Andrew and Mark there, unfortunately both 1 lap down each. Thank you very much for watching race 1, and we hope to see you soon for race 2 of the Megane series.